You said, why do men suck at communication and not want to commit to women anymore?
Yeah, I feel like a lot of men don't like straight up say like what they want.
Yeah, I actually think I would agree with you. Oh my God, I agreed with another person on the panel. Right? Oh no,
She's not here to witness this phenomenon,
which never happened again. I actually think I would agree with you here, but I think there's actually good reasons that men don't want to be in committed relationships with women, and therefore really don't tell them what they want. So I think that women don't want to hear that a man doesn't want to be in a committed relationship. We can agree to that, right? Mm-hmm. So they have an incentive to lie, right? And say, but I do want to be in a committed relationship, even if they really don't want to be in a committed relationship. And when it comes to marriage in modernity, it's a really bad deal for men. And I think that increasingly men are going to continue to check out of it. So I think that they actually have a lot of incentives to not be open and honest with women about what they want in a relationship.
What are those reasons, Andrew?
Well, I think that if they were open and honest and said, well, I would like to only have sex with you for the rest of my life, but never, ever in a million years get married to you. I'd like to have babies with you, but never get married to you. I would like to never give you this kind of social safety net, which puts me at risk. I think that's why they're somewhat evasive on this topic.
Yep.
Yeah. What do you think, Q?
No, I agree. I knew you was going to answer. You was going to hit the nail on the head. Also, of course, with America being more secular and the guys who typically get women, they don't want to sleep with one woman. So if they can tell a woman that they only want her and that they're not going to sleep around, then they'll lie and say that and still sleep around. So
well, let me ask the panel the question. Let's get everybody in for some engagement real quick. Starting with. And I'm sorry if I get any of your names wrong. I did write them down as we were going. Savannah, that's right. Your name, right?
Yeah.
Let's start with you. So here's the question. In modernity, secularist meaning non-religious, what would actually be a good reason for men who are not religious and women who are not religious to get married? Why would a man actually want to do that? What would be a good reason?
Maybe if he really wants to stick with her for the rest of her life and like create a family. I feel like that would be a good reason.
You would agree though that he could do that with her absent marriage?
With her absent marriage?
Yeah, he could do the same thing, stay with her his entire life, but never get married to her, right?
Yeah, true.
Yeah. So moving to the next, Gabby, what would be a good reason, do you think, for a secularist man to get married?
So this question kind of confuses me because I
can explain if you want. So
yes,
from a religious standpoint, it's understandable, at least to me, why religious people would want to get married. They're commanded to do so before they have sex. They're commanded to do so divinely before they engage in any sort of, having children, sexual intercourse, things like this. So I can understand why they would want to get married. When we were discussing secular marriage, you were saying you don't really think that there's a good, compelling reason for a man who's non-religious to get married.
No, not necessarily, because there's just a ton of legalities that go into it. You could play the argument of, oh, well, if you want to be with someone long-term committed and you don't plan on ever splitting up or divorcing, then why not get married? But why get married? I think, like, personally, me, I want to get married under God. I'm a religious person. I'm Christian. And that's something that I would want, because I see it more as a union under God, and then the paperwork comes, and then we're legally and financially bound.
But even if there's no paperwork, right, you consider this a sacrament, right?
I do consider it a sacrament, yes.
Okay. Moving over to the next, I believe it's Kendra. Is that right?
Yeah.
Can you think of a good reason why non-religious men should actually get married to women in modernity?
I think it goes both ways for, making like sacrifices for each other. I mean, I think that'd be the only way. Like, you both sacrifice things, and
couldn't you both sacrifice the same things without getting married?
I mean, a sacrifice in marriage would also be legality in terms of money, finances.
couldn't that be settled with a prenuptial agreement?
Yeah, but during the marriage, you still share the same like money.
Yeah, sure, but you could still share the same money if you weren't married, right?
Yeah, and that's the sacrifice. Because you're legally
I don't understand. What's the sacrificial part?
because you're legally bound, and like when you're not married, you're not. So like if I'm not married to somebody, I could have my own funds somewhere else. We could still share the same money. But like legally,
Yeah, so then what's the incentive to get married if you're
that's what
not
I'm saying. The
religious?
only thing would be like to make those types of sacrifices.
But you can make those same type of sacrifices absent marriage if you're a secularist. That's what I don't understand.
I mean, yeah, but it wouldn't be the same sacrifice. Like
Why not? Why wouldn't it be the same? So if you're not religious, then you say, okay, but we're going to share all of the money, right? Exactly equally. Now you're not legally bound, but you just
Yeah.
do the same exact thing. What would be?
I mean, there's
it's
other
the same
sacrifices.
sacrifice, right?
There's other sacrifices besides just money.
Well, what are the other ones?
I mean, legally, you can't like be with other people. Like
No, I think legally you can be with other people. So you could be married, for instance, and open your relationship up, and you would still very much be married. You could step out of your marriage, and you would still very much be married by the state, for instance. But even that aside, if you were a secularist, meaning non-religious, and you didn't get married, couldn't you just not step outside of that relationship anyway?
I mean, I guess.
Yeah.
Sure. I'm not married, so
Yeah.
I can't really speak on it. I don't know all the details.
Like for instance, right now, if you were in a relationship, you had a boyfriend, and you both loved each other, but you weren't married, you would still consider it cheating if you slept with another woman, right?
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
easier to leave, though.
Yeah, sure. But yeah, exactly. It's easier to leave, but you would still consider it cheating even though you weren't married, correct?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so I mean, you could still have those same types of arrangements even if you weren't married, right?
Yeah, but I feel like there's just more of a sacrifice being made because, like, if you do cheat and you do decide to separate and you want to get divorced, there's a lot more that goes into that than just leaving.
Right. So from the perspective of the man, if he was going to get a worse end of the deal, generally, if that were to occur, if you were a man and you weren't religious, wouldn't you just not want to get married?
Sure.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
Sure.
Okay, thank you.
I don't really wanna get
going
married.
over to Emma with the crazy mom. What's your answer here? Can you think of a good, compelling reason?
I cannot.
You can't.
No reason. No idea.
And then Alex.
So the only reasons I personally think that there are to get married are if there's children involved, and or if there's two different countries kind of thing. So it's like for one person to come over to the other country and stay within that country, a lot of times they have to be actually physically married in order to be, to have like a visa to actually stay here. Otherwise it'd be a lot more difficult. So overall, I don't think there's an actual reason, but those are the only two that I think that are valid.
So the reasons that you would have would be, this benefits me in some way, but you would agree with me, for instance, even if we were talking about visa immigration, that people could get married who didn't love each other at all, just for the purposes of bringing that person over, right? And this happens quite often.
I completely agree with you. But again, we're just talking about the marriage part.
Sure.
So, that still, I think, counts.
Okay, thank you. And then moving over to Turkish. And by the way, you said your name is Turkish Delight. Did you get that from The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe? I'm just curious, right?
No,
Did you get
I
that
didn't.
from the movie?
I didn't.
No?
I'm sorry. I just like Turkish
That's
delights.
the only time I ever heard of
they're
that
so
candy,
delicious.
by the way, was in that movie. But I was just curious.
I don't even know the
so,
movie. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Can you think of a good, compelling reason why a non-religious person should actually get married, especially a man?
To be honest, I feel like you should only marry if you want I would only get married in the sense of religion. But I feel like if you want to get married, you should do it for the sake of wanting to, and it's like wanting the benefit of it. Me, like I feel like this sense of security. I know you're saying they can share regardless, whether or not they're married or not, but it's kind of more giving that sense of security where like you both know it's like an agreement that you're both communicating to stay loyal to each other, to stay with each other through sickness and in health, to being with each other, to working together on like your goals for your children. Like I'm very traditional in a sense of a man and a woman. They get married, they raise the children, have a family, grow old together. That's the way that I
Well, hang on.
want it.
Let's
Sorry.
kind of take these one at a time.
Sorry.
No, you don't have to apologize. I was just getting your position down.
Okay.
So, starting with the last thing you said first, why couldn't a man and a woman do all of those same things you just stated, not married?
They can. There's definitely people that do that without marriage. But me personally, I think
Yeah, I know
it's-
you. Hang on, you personally. We're going to leave that aside, right? This is not what you, as the religious Alexa, would do. I already know what you would do. You want marriage. You want the kids. You want the husband. You want the covenant, right?
Yeah.
What we would call the covenant.
Yeah.
I don't know what you call it in Islam, but what we would call the covenant. You want that. Got that. Can you think of a good reason, though, why men who are not religious should get married?
Men who are not religious and do not believe in any God, they don't believe in any religion, they don't believe in heaven and hell, like atheist type, like genuine questions.
Yep. Those types.
They would do it for their significant other to make them happy. Like, for
Yeah,
example,
but-
if I was marrying an atheist, I feel like they would only do it for the sake for me. I feel like regardless, they wouldn't really care.
And why would that be? But why would that be good for them?
Because maybe they need to be married under their own act, like they want to be married.
Yeah, but they don't want to be married.
No. I know they don't want to, but I'm saying you're asking me why would someone who is
Yeah,
not
what would
religious
actually be
want
the
to?
incentive? So the question here is, if you're an atheist or a secularist, non-religious, you don't believe in all of what you consider the god, voodoo, hoodoo, the sky fairy, the, whatever you call it. And you look at the deal that a man has in modernity in the West in marriage and what happens with divorce and things like this. What would your actual incentive to get married to a woman be?
I'm going to be honest. I feel like if people don't really want religion, I don't think they really want marriage because it doesn't hold any much value to them. But
Right.
if they were to do it, it would honestly be for the sake of the other person if the other person wanted the marriage.
So your answer is basically just only if it made the other
Someone
person
else happy. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Because
let's say you were just you were sitting down in a room and it was just you were just purely being asked this on a cost benefit analysis, right? Let's say that you were a marriage counselor and your job was to only do a cost benefit analysis. Two secularists came in, non-religious, and they sat down and they said, look, she wants to get married and I don't because I take all the risks and she's not taking any risk, right? The courts favor her, everything else. What would your advice be to him if that was your job?
Oh my God. I'm going to be honest. I feel like if he's looking at the relationship in terms of loss, then that doesn't feel like a genuine relationship. Because you'd want to, this is my opinion.
But isn't she doing the same thing by demanding he get married?
But like, shouldn't she bring something to the plate by getting married? Like, is it just all of his money? Like, I feel like, wouldn't she be also contributing to the marriage and contributing to the money and contributing?
Yeah,
sorry.
sure. But why should he take the additional risk if they already have the equal contribution?
What is his additional risk?
The additional risk is that the courts will likely favor her in the case of divorce, and the chances that they get divorced is actually quite high.
Oh.
So you are here just doing a cost-benefit analysis, and he says, well, based on what I'm seeing, it looks like it might be a really raw deal for me and a very good deal for her.
But why is he
these are
thinking
your
about-
clients. Hang on, these are your clients, and you have to give him the advice. What would you give this atheist? What advice from just a purely cost-benefit analysis would you give him?
Don't get married.
I think
No,
maybe.
hang on, let her answer.
I think I would honestly just say to remain patient and to like organize other things before the marriage card becomes dealt with, because one, I feel like I wouldn't want to be with someone who's worried about being divorced. I don't know, that's weird to me. Like, don't you want eternity with me? Why are you thinking about the outcome?
Well, they don't believe in eternity.
But then, so they should be focusing on the present. And on the present right now, I'm telling you I love you. I'm telling you that I want to commit with you. And I
Yeah,
want
they
to.
love you, and they love you too.
And if they're scared, then I think it's something they just need to wait on. Like, I don't recommend getting married if that is something that's like, if that's going to make them feel bad.
So you would tell them not to get married.
Yeah, I would say.
Yeah, right. So,
Yeah.
so essentially, your advice ultimately to the man would be, don't do it.
Don't do it now until you're comfortable.
Yeah, don't do it. Yeah, don't do it.
Yes,
right?
the
Because
now
if
aspect.
you were just doing pure cost-benefit analysis, so your advice to the man would be, don't do it.
Yes, if that's going to.
Yeah.
But I feel like the partner should also understand from their part. Like, if my partner was feeling like that and saying, like, I feel like there's divorce or whatever, I feel like it's just like, it's about like coming to an agreement. It's about meeting halfway, like seeing how can both people be happy. Like, if he's
Yeah.
that worried, like, oh my God, we need to talk about that.
Can you look
Like,
right into the camera and tell that man no?
No. Did I do it right?
You did it right. You did it right.
Okay.
You aced this test, I promise. Moving over to Q. Q, cost-benefit analysis, right? Can you give me a good, compelling reason why a non-religious man in modernity should get married?
Off the top of my head, no, I don't see the overall benefit in it, especially if the foundation is holy matrimony. The only thing that I would say would even be potentially compelling enough would be dependent on how much they value just the idea of it, in the sense of, I want to be married, you know. And maybe they grew up religious and converted to being atheist.
So, like,
and
there's
all.
a tradition behind it.
Yeah, like just.
But let's give you the same scenario. I think I can understand the idea that because my parents were married, my grandparents were married, I also want to be married, even if, even if I'm not religious. I think I can kind of wrap my head around that. But help me out here. You are doing a cost-benefit analysis, sitting down with this couple who are both atheists. And the man says, look, this looks like it's going to be a really raw deal for me. I'm taking a lot of risk here. And it seems like the risk is very mitigated on her end. So we either do a prenup or I'm just not going to do the marriage. What would you advise this man to do?
Well, first I would warn him about all the risks that he's involved with. That's the first thing. I would let him know.
He's already acknowledging the risk. They're
Yeah, so-
arguing because she wants to get married, he doesn't. Because of these risks.
It's not really.
Can you tell me the compelling reason you give him as to why he should?
No.
No.
I can't really think of a.
No.
Yeah, no.
Can't give him. So I just want to reiterate, this is the men and the women agreeing. Not a single person has been able to give a good reason for why men in modernity should actually marry non-religious women, and them not being religious themselves, why they should get married. I just wanted to point that out, right? Maddie, what about you? Right, by the way, I haven't picked on you in weeks, which I always feel bad about. Tell me, can you think of a single reason?
No, I mean, if you're even hesitating marriage, I don't think you should get married at all. The only reason I can actually think of, which kind of sounds like a little manipulative, is that it's harder for her to leave. Make it a pain in the ass for her to leave.
It's just like, yeah.
Yeah, like, I don't think you should get married, though, if you're even hesitating, thinking about it.